Hello, snowboarders of the internet. I'm your host Kevin, here to give you my review on the Nitro team binding for 2019. So I took these bindings to Copper mid-season, hadn't snowed in a while, it was pretty firm out. I rode them on my niche Ether from 2016, and I was wearing Burton Almighties. The boot's a little bit bulky, but it fit in the binding pretty okay, so if you do have a little bit of a bulkier boot, you should still be able to get into these bindings. So adjustability out of these guys, it's what you're gonna expect from a high-end binding. You've got toolless strap adjustments, you have toolless high back adjustments, you have high back rotation. All pretty standard stuff. The strap adjustments are on cams, so flip the cam down, adjust it, flip it back up, you're good to go. Cool thing with the strap adjustments is your adjustment ladders have wires running through them on these guys. So if you do manage to crack the plastic, you're not gonna have a terrible day because your binding broke and it's no longer usable, because those wires are gonna hold everything in place. Still want to go get that piece replaced, but at least it's not going to be a day ender. The forward lean adjustment is just a cam, flip that down, move it if you really want to. And the high back rotation is bolts, loose them up, rotate it where you need it to be, tighten them back down. Getting into straps here, ankle strap, very heavily 3D shaped. It's got a lot going on there as far as the shaping is concerned. But for me, it felt just a little tall. So I've got instep issues where anything that causes pressure on top of my foot causes awful discomfort. So these being a little tall, they weren't the most comfortable straps, but if you don't have instep pressure issues, which if you're not sure if you have instep pressure issues, you don't, because you know if you do. So if you don't, it's not gonna be that big a deal, and it does wrap your boot pretty well. The toe strap is pretty awesome. It's using Vibram rubber. Now, a lot of you are going to say that's a gimmick, whatever, they're just throwing that on there just to add to the marketing. And you know what, I would have agreed with you until I rode it, but that strap seriously grips your boot so well. I've never ridden a strap that actually almost felt like it was sticky the way it was gripping the front of my boot. So that was awesome. The ratchets on these guys are pretty simple. There's nothing super special going on here. The only thing really to note is the release levers are a little small, just something to kind of get used to basically. If you're used to big giant levers or grabbing the whole ratchet, it'd be kind of tough to really kind of get used to it, but it took me 3 laps and felt like normal. So that's really the only thing to note. They climb well, they release smooth, good ratchets. Highbacks on these guys have a lot of 3D cup to them. So it's not the stiffest highback out there, but because of that 3D shape, it follows you around the entire time you're on the board as you're moving around. So that structure, that centered structure through the spine of that high back stays right behind you where you really need it. So it's a very supportive high back that also doesn't get in your way. Now, if you're really trying to get super loose side to side, you are going to feel it. That 3D cupping, you're going to feel it. It's there. So just know that. Torsionally, it's not the stiffest high back out there. It's not the softest. It's pretty much right in the middle. Top to bottom, so push it straight back into that high back. It's relatively stiff, but definitely not the stiffest thing out there. Put it right around that above middle flex. Supportive and responsive. Putting all the pieces together for this binding, it sits right above middle of the road flex. Something that I would call a supportive freestyle binding. So definitely something that's a little bit more geared towards getting loose, having fun out there, but still has enough support that if you want to go send a cliff, you're not just going to flex through this binding. A lot of that comes from the aluminum heel cup. It offers a lot of structure and a lot of support, but you do have that mini disc underfoot that is going to provide a little bit more of that board feel underfoot. One of my favorite things about these bindings is the dampening. Nitro uses airbag dampening that is honestly phenomenal. It's probably my favorite dampening system in the entire industry. It soaks up micro vibrations really, really well, and it also takes up big load shocks like knuckle in a jump or something like that, also really, really well. Out of all of the Nitro bindings that I've ridden so far, the teams are probably the ones that I would pick for myself. They're stiff enough that I can rip around the mountain, carve on, but not super stiff that I can't take it to the park on the 3 days that I do go to the park. So they're still playful enough that I can move around on the board. I'm not a heavy guy, so super stiff binding honestly gets in my way a lot of the time. So for me, this binding just matches my riding style really well, and I really like the cupped highbacks on these. That's definitely like my style kind of highback. Thanks for watching. What'd you think? Is this a binding you've been taking a look at? Is this a binding you ride? Am I full of shit? Did I nail it? Let us know. Click the subscribe button. While you're at that, click the bells. Make sure you get notifications these videos are coming out. And if you feel like supporting us, check out Angry Snowboarder VIP. Come back and watch the next video.